Good morning, everyone. Today is Tuesday, August the 8th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are looking at a support ledge right around here. We can see traders are really kind of duking it out, right? We've had one test, and then another test a little lower, and then another test right at the low. But what's happening is that we've got lower highs. And so in my mind, this tells me that my bounces are either going to be sideways or we're going to lose this edge and fall further to the south. So how do we take a look at the price points? Remember, what you want to do always is look at your current candle and the two candles to the left. What are they telling you? Well, these guys are saying, hey, I'm landlocked. And so they're looking for something. And so that something is another catalyst. Is this a buy the dip, where the traders sit around for a few days and old resistance becomes new support, since we did have a new high? That's entirely possible. Or do we just sit in this range until something comes up? So the next thing to do is say, well, what's coming up? And so if we look at the calendar, we can see that today, what's the date? Tuesday? Yeah, I think it's Tuesday. We've got Philly Fed, Harker speaking. We've got a trade balance, not a big deal. Richmond Fed, and then wholesale inventories at 10 o'clock. That doesn't really look like much of anything. Now, the Italian government last night, our time, last night, put a 40% windfall tax on banks. And then also said something to them to the effect of, you should be lending more. So I don't know how that filters through things, but it could be a little weird. And then Moody downgraded a bunch of banks. So I don't know what kind of flavor that puts on the chart. Please remember, I kind of speak slowly because I'm always thinking through what it is I'm trying to say. Speed me up. 1.25, 1.5 even, you'll get the same information. I can't stand to hear myself at normal speed. It drives me crazy. All right, I'm done. Now, let's take a look at it. Where are the sellers going to pile in and say, hey, we've got more downside? Well, it's going to be at a failed test of this line in the sand, 44.92. So far, they've come into the area and bounced. Now, they could break the area and bounce, but if they can't get back up over this congestion line above 45.06, they are going to head to the downside. So what does that imply? You need to have a little patience, okay? Anticipate that since buyers were here and then buyers came here, gapped up, and now again, the buyers come in at the floor, they're going to keep coming until they can't anymore, right? Until there's so much supply that they can't suck it up, okay? So that will tell us, okay, we've got more downside pressure, and then we'll be looking at 44.70, maybe 44.82. We don't really have any catalysts today, so it could just be technical selling. There are a lot of people buying puts in the SPY. And so here's what I know. Whenever you've got a gigantic group of people piling up on one edge of the seesaw, price action is going to flip to the other side. So be careful about thinking that this is going to fall through the floorboard, especially since the last 4 days, all it's been telling you is that buyers are trying to come in. Okay, so that's what you need to look at. Let's go to the NQ. NQ battling, right? Old resistance on the monthly. Is it new support? That's what they're trying to battle with. So where are they coming in? Look at this number. What did I put that up yesterday? Old resistance, new support. Look at how many days. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 days of trying to buy the dip. Now here's the thing. This is not a buy and hold. This is a buy into resistance and then get out of Dodge. Why? Because clearly nobody's doing any action up here. The wicks went all the way up to the 600 level and then collapsed. But in the last several days, we've had no buyers above this 15,510. And so that's really what we're looking at. Remember, the candle that you're at, 2 candles to the left. What are we doing right now? Well, we touched the low of the prior day. Now we're above the open of the prior day. What are we trying to do? We're trying to make our way back up to the close of the prior day. Who's in the way? All the sellers that are sitting around these candles. So I suspect that they're going to try and meander their way up to 15,400. And then if they can't hold it, we know that they're going to get back down into this range. My setup today is I'm going to trade the edges until the edges tell me I'm wrong. That means I'm going to be long on the bottom and I'm going to be short on the top. And whatever happens here on the bottom, I better not lose my front line support. If I do, I'm out. Okay? Same thing we should be looking at for SPY and for the Qs, right? Now, the SPY is not nearly as deep as the NQ, and it's not nearly as deep as the ES. So it's holding. Now, I posted a video of David Paul, an old trader from VectorVest, and he said something super interesting. He said, make sure that you put your buy in where everybody's got their stop, okay? Or you put your trade in where everybody's got their stop. So what does that mean? It means you need to have patience and you need to think about what the traders are doing in the near term. And so let's take a look at this weekly from SPY. It's above the close of last week. It gapped up yesterday and it's got a very tiny wick there, but it's forging ahead. So where's it going? Old resistance. This wick, that old resistance, new support, that seems to me where it's off to. It's the same edge when we look at the weekly and we go, wow, sideways action here, bounce, that fails. This is what I mean by a failed test of a level. So it breaks a support zone. That was the 51. Fades, bounces, and then breaks it again. So if you're using this formation and you're saying, hey, I want to get short, and you're doing it on the daily, what you're doing is saying, wait a second, I've got to wait for it to break the low and then retest and give me a lower high. Does that take patience? Oh, you betcha. You betcha it does. It takes a lot of patience. So now what's happening? We've got low, lower low, but a higher high relative to this one, and now a higher low. So what are they doing? They're trying to climb the wall of resistance. They're trying to push through. So anticipate that push through, but in the end, the flow is still fairly negative. So they're going to have to work through it, but that is what they're doing. They are buying it up off the bottom. Now that they have this area, the sellers are going to come in and go, I think I'm going to try and sell there. If you're one of them, great, no problem. If you break the wicks of 2 days ago, you better pump the brakes because it's either going to fly up another $1 or it's going to chop around here. Either way, it's going to be a pain in the neck. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. No, wait, I want to show you something. Last thing. See, last few days, look at the selling volume. Look at how much bigger it is than the buying volume. Doesn't mean prices can't go up. Because obviously you can see they go up. And you can see even with all this selling, price action still bounces. Lots of selling volume does not mean that prices will not go up. They will, but they can go up on much lighter volume. And when we try to bounce and that volume is low, there's going to be a problem. All right, just saying. Let's go lastly to the cues. I spent a lot of time talking about how, but that's really what I like doing, right? I like sharing that how. So let's look. Old resistance, new support, bouncing. Cues are doing nicely, right? They're bouncing off the framework. Take a look. Same resistance area I talked about. I did not draw this line new. You can go to yesterday's video and see it. I did not draw this square new. You can go to yesterday's video and see it. You can see, look at this. It fails this edge and then immediately recovers it. And then it gives us a lower high, fails the edge again, and this morning immediately recovers it. So what does it tell you? I've got buyers under here. 371.60. What does it tell you up here? Well, by and large, I've got sellers around 376. What are the buyers? What are the traders going to do? Well, the buyers are going to try and push it up over this ledge. Listen, if they can't get up over 376, there's some selling to be had. But if they can step out of the way, because we easily could squeeze through all of this noise. It's a very dangerous place right now, all right? Be tactical, look at your dailies, understand the price action, and then when it's time to trigger, like let's say here, right? You're going to say to yourself, you know, I think I want to take a short right there. Go to your 5-minute and you wait for a topping formation. What does a topping formation look like? 1, it fails to close higher. 2, it breaks the front line of support. 3, it bounces and fails to recover the old high. So right here tells you you've got a scalp short. Well, Henri, why take a short there? Isn't it a long? Oh, it absolutely is. But how do you know it's a long? Because the overall trend is upward, right? If I have a low, a high, a higher low, a retest of that high, a higher low, another retest of that high, I'm probably going to bounce, right? So when you think about the formation, and again, fails to head higher, breaks the front line of support, right, which is old resistance over here, bounces and fails to retest the prior highs. That's it. You can get in and you're good. All right? So that's how you do it. You look for the key level. Right now, what's it saying? Oh, it's got a breakaway. That is a clear breakaway. Look, sellers, 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 ruh-roh. They all turn to buyers. So you want a short here? That would be a big fat no. That's not the formation you're looking for. This is the formation you're looking for. All right? And you could have it a couple of times on that tight space around that price point. Okay? You just have to wait for it. Be patient. Let price come to you. Trade well. I'll see you at the midday report.